Hey folks, welcome back. This is Premier Virtual Racing Academy, our Sim Glove Review Day 2. Excuse me while I open up my broadcasting screen. I do this just to hear myself. Okay, make sure everything is going out good. Like I said, this is Day 2 of our Sim Glove Review with my AlpineStar Tech-1 Race V2 sim racing gloves or karting gloves, but we use them for sim racing. As we reviewed yesterday, great adhesion with the pattern. They look really good, really tech worthy. We're just gonna jump right in, get into our car that we had prepared since yesterday, and we're gonna do a few laps, see if we can kind of extract some better time out of Gas Marina circuit. So nice to have some gloves now, as I've been working without gloves for the better part of 2 months. Let's see. Gotta make sure the volume is down. Oh, don't want it too loud. It's 11 o'clock at night, you know. Okay, I have no force feedback in my rim. So before I even start, I'm gonna fix that. And I actually don't know why I don't have any force feedback going on. Back to pits. Let's get our back to pits. Let's get our tune right, because I don't feel like doing any laps without my car tuned. Now let's go to our force feedback settings, where I don't understand why it's at 0. As you can see, it's at 0. And we like it up to about 110, I believe it was. Let's just keep it here, see what this does. And, yeah, that's good. 113 is fine. Let's get this off the screen now and let us roll. Well, thank God for anti-stall, so I don't stall out on here. That's such a nice thing for the Racing Studio to put in their car. It's like an automatic anti-stall, whatever you want to call it. Because what happens, like on Automobilistas 2, believe it or not, when you're like if you, is it Automobilistas 2? Yeah, Automobilistas 2. Once you stall, it's like you're done. If you don't have a button set for your ignition and engine start, then the car is pretty much toast on the, just a dead, it's a brick. Gotta get my braking right again, that's all. So the gloves, yesterday I was saying how the gloves felt a little funny on the inside, and that feeling is totally gone. So what I would guess I was experiencing was the seams, having to be stretched out, because the stitching is really good in this in these gloves. So stitching is like really like sharp, like to the skin. But then like after like the first, I won't say the first session, but yesterday, after the first day of using them, they feel good. They feel broken in on that part. I wouldn't say totally broken in. because I'm really waiting for that this rubber to pretty much fade a little bit. Oh wow, that slipped. So I didn't even have the I guess I had gotten confident in the glove that when I went to go do a right-hander, I literally was like trying to just use the the, the adhesiveness of the grip of the glove to just spin me around. But as you see, once your hand slips, it's over. That's so funny as I'm talking about the adhesion of the glove. I wanted it to kind of wear away a little bit. I tell you, it's funny. It's like no matter what I say, it always gets like either proven wrong or like tested right then and there. Gotta come out of here with more sense, cause I used to fly out of there and end up in the green grass. Ain't no way. So I've been struggling with this hairpin, trying to extract the most time out of my lap, found my breaking point, but because it has those two bumps, it causes me to release the brakes, right? Because you go up a hill, less weight on the car. At the, as you crest over the first bump, you have less weight, and that causes a lockup. And then when you step back on the brake, when you lift off the brake, your car carries speed, picks up speed again, and you end up going off the road. Not going off the road, sorry, I was trying to make that technical little two corners, so. Yeah, it causes you to miss your breaking point. Look at this. Oh, come on. I can feel the oversteer coming. Let's go back to the pits real quick. See, I knew something was wrong. And if you can see, it says tire and suspension and aero, but up here it says number 2. See, we modified the tire, suspension, and aero tune, and we put number 2 to show you that this is the second tune to this one here. So while we prepared the car, we tuned the car better and had named it the number 2. We accidentally selected the first one. So here it is. I'm trying to run my pace with the car that's not tuned to run that pace. We had to do a couple different things, right? Because like for one, I believe in putting in some we actually put some more downforce. Put some more downforce. We put some more camber in the rear. We fix the toe angle to give us extra turning. Unfortunately, right now we can't do much for power. We actually knocked the braking pressure down from 100 to okay, so it almost did it again. From 100 to about 85, because our pedals are not really pro grade. It's so funny when you like buy sim racing equipment, and here's the thing, I'm actually in marketing. That's my profession. I'm in marketing. But it wasn't until I got into marketing that I realized just how much companies like sell you false hope and ideas. You know, just because you call something professional, or you say, you know, you make hints that, like let's say Fanatec for instance, right? They had they have a slogan on their wheelbases. I believe it's the CSW 2 V2.5, something like "this is not a toy" or something like that. Or maybe it's not this. Maybe it's the direct drive. But anyway, just because it says that does not mean that that is the uh, professional grade component. Like, if you think about it, none of these like none of these wheels and these wheelbases are actually professional grade. They're good, but if you go to, let's say, McLaren, or you go to, oh man, I keep hitting that bump and losing, something's up. Anyway, if you go to like one of these Formula One simulators, or teams, GT3 team simulators, they're not gonna have any Fanatec. Trust me. They're gonna have a company that contracts out, that has service contracts for them and things like that. They're not at all going to you know, you're not gonna see any type of sim magic, which I have here. You're not gonna see any Thrustmaster for sure, please. So don't get hooked up onto like this stuff as being like pro grade equipment. But that's what they do in 85. Okay. That's what they do to us. Is they say this is the best. This is, you know, this or nothing. You know, they say things like that in order to get you to go, yeah, I need that. And Fanatec is smart. Fanatec has this mindset to make the best looking stuff, right? Like, they'll literally have they have their and I have one too. I have a Fanatec rim back there where they have, I mean, it looks like all the bells and whistles, knobs, lights, carbon fiber print, Alcantara grips, and you'll eat that up. You're like, oh man. Like, they even have one that glows in the dark. I say that sounds nice, but who cares? and then they'll charge you ridiculous prices for them. I'm all about, saving money. If I didn't have a Sim Magic, I'd probably have a Fanatec, but secondhand, of course. I wouldn't buy it brand new. Because first off, I'm not waiting months for it, or I'm not I'm not gonna wait months for it, and I'm not gonna pay their ridiculous pricing. What is going on, dude? I just throw it into the corner, and of course, um, something is up with the tune. And it's crazy because yesterday I was running it. It was running really well, and now I'm having trouble with it. I also upgraded to Windows 11, so I was going through a little bit of issue in some of my settings, like with the volume. That's why, like 2 videos ago, the volume is super low. Hmm. Oh man, I gotta stop streaming so late, huh? That's not my it's not me. Real quick, let's just turn some of this tire pressure down. Let's see what it's like to run ridiculously low tire pressure. How about that? Setup invalid. Y'all wanna allow me to? They wouldn't allow me to run like 10. It says setup invalid. They were like, yeah, right, what do you think? This is a video game? It's Max Verstappen coming out of the pits. So what did you guys think about that Formula One race? I think it was one of the most the best things to ever happen to Formula One in modern days because um, Mercedes killed Formula One for a lot of people. And I don't say that just to spite them. Like, I mean, I have friends that are into Formula One. Like, for one, I have a gentleman at my job. He's from Belarus, and every time we see one another, we talk about the season. And he would come, we would talk about it, and he would say things like, "Yeah, it's Mercedes." Like he'd be so angry that he don't even stop and talk. Sometimes he's just like, "Yeah, it's gonna be Mercedes," because of what they were doing with the car. They say, "Oh, Lewis Hamilton is the greatest." You know, yeah, George Russell was the greatest too when he drove the car. So, the car has some significant advantage, and that you cannot avoid that. Please don't avoid that truth. The car has a great advantage. Even Max Verstappen says 60% of the grid will will be world champions in the Mercedes. 60% of the grid. So a car like that, 1 second faster than a car 1 second faster than everybody else on the grid per lap. 1 second per lap faster than every other car on the grid. Think about it. Over 20 laps, you're up 20 seconds. You're pretty much you pretty much won the race. Think of how long is a pit? I think a pit is like 20 something total seconds. I can't think of the time. And that's from pit entry, doing the pit speed, to the actual time it takes for you to get out of your pit time, and then your pit exit. It's got to be about 23 seconds, something like that. So like you're so far ahead of everyone um that you're able to go into the pits, come out with fresher tires, and still put it down. Like, to me, okay, that's not a race. That's actually just you running by yourself. And I realize, like, Formula One is very advanced. It's very cool. It's very great with the midfield competition. Or I don't know too much about. I know like the second, like the from the front of the grid to the midfield. That those few cars, McLaren. Um, who else is up there? Alpine has been up there, believe it or not. The Alpine car, the McLaren. Who else? Who else is? Oh, Ferrari. Being able to see these cars go at it. What's that? 6 cars right there. I just named those teams because Red Bull and Red Bull and Mercedes were pretty much dueling it out, but it was just good to see some midfield competition and things like that. And that's where the competition is in Formula One. It's not in that front of the grid positions. I was telling everybody, I said, yo, Max Verstappen's gonna win a world title. I said he's the most consistent driver. If you look at it, he was always at the front of the grid. Second place. If it ain't first place, it's second place. If he's not splitting the two Mercedes, he's in third place, starting P3. So I'm looking at it, from that perspective, not because I'm like just some Max Verstappen fanboy, but if you take away, if you present the fact that Mercedes is killing it, killing the competition, right, with their over over tuned car, over advanced car, and you like go down to like driver, right? Lewis Hamilton is really good, and for a long time people were saying, "Oh, he's the greatest, he's the greatest," but I always knew, I said Max Verstappen is not afraid of him, and that's the first thing that you got to get into your mind, as you see, the more seasoned drivers are not afraid of him, right? So you look at how Sergio Perez held him back, like masterclass, right? Fernando Alonso holds him back. These guys are not afraid of Lewis Hamilton. Why? Because they've been there to see him. They've been there. They believe in their abilities. These guys are great drivers, but they don't have the great car. Now Checo is doing things in that Red Bull as a number two driver that maybe ought not to be done, right? Because if we say that the Red Bull car is not as good as the Mercedes car, not as fast as the Mercedes car, right? But there are two Mercedes cars. You know, how is it that Checo and Max are at least beating one of them per race? They're ahead of. I thought I heard something in the back. It sounded like a scream. That was actually the car sliding down the metal rail. But yeah, you know, a Red Bull is like always in front of a Mercedes. So he's doing that, you know, and I'm not talking about Max now. I'm talking about Checo. He's putting himself in good position to like, you know, like to be an excellent number two driver, like how Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas were, the 1-2 punch. You know, they use Valtteri Bottas to do all of the odd jobs for Lewis Hamilton. You know, like Brazil. Brazil is another reason why I looked at Lewis Hamilton's lap, like how he was making up places in Brazil, and I seen how fast he was on those straights. I said, man, you know, that has nothing to do with the driver, right? Like, you step on the gas, that has nothing to do pretty much with, like, it doesn't take great skill to step on the gas. So you have a car that is like super powerful. Yeah, that thing is gonna perform. It's gonna do what it's made to do. It's a machine. So you step on the gas and you just, you know. So he's coming down, and his car has like supreme aero, to the point that Max goes to the wing and touches the wing and gets a fine, right? But if you look at it in hindsight, go back and look at those. Look at his performance. Look at every pass that he took. And if I'm not mistaken, every pass that he did, it looks like they gave him the inside line. Nobody allowed him, and going into turn one, nobody protected their inside line. Except, I believe, when it came down to, it was either Carlos Sainz or Checo. Now, all of a sudden, these guys protect their inside line. I believe it was Checo. Wait, or was it Fernando? I can't remember. It was someone. It's like, because the whole time I'm yelling, like, wait a second. Why is nobody fighting this guy off? His car is fast, but if you just block him on the inside, he has to go around, and he risks he risks, not risk, but he has to back off sometimes because you don't want to hit anyone. So they didn't make him work for nothing, you know. So I looked at races like that, and I'm not, like I said, I'm clearly not a Lewis Hamilton fan, but and please don't give me the, but you're black. Please don't. I cannot stand that. He is a man, and that's where we'll leave it. But Max has always been at the top. Since he's been in Formula One, he's been at the top. And he's never won a world champion up until this year. Check out Lewis Hamilton. From his rookie season, he's been at the top of the grid and lost the world championship by 1 point his rookie season. Does that even make any sense? Oh, because he's such a great driver. Or was the McLaren such a great car? I say both. I give it to him there. But you first in the Formula One car for the first time, you just that good? Get out of here, dude. That brother has never been in a car that was not good. And I believe when he realized that the car, the McLaren, was no good anymore, then I realized that's when he left. Cause it was that. So I have been watching Formula One. I'm 35. I've been watching Formula One for quite some time. Now I wasn't always into it. Now what I mean by watching it is you would always like turn the TV on and see you would always see like the red Ferrari car, Michael Schumacher, flying, like through races, and I didn't at that point in time. I watched it. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I had no real concept of their speed. I didn't know how fast they were going. So I didn't know how much technology was in the cars at that point in time. But it wasn't until I believe it was 2010 that I got into it. I was actually in Dubai. I had something I was doing out there when Sebastian Vettel won his world championship. So I believe that was his first one. So I was basically what I'm saying is I was there when I keep coming around that corner, that second one too quick. I was basically there when Lewis Hamilton did his switch to Mercedes, and once he did that switch, I said to myself, like, I mean, it was pretty cool at first because Nico Rosberg was there. But then I was watching them drive. I said, man, this guy never races anyone. Like, these guys go number 1 and 2. Mercedes 1-2. Every race. Mercedes 1-2. Mercedes 1-2. Starting P1, starting P2. And then they would, like, as soon as the race began, it's lights out. These guys will pull away and be some seconds, 8 second. The 8 second gap would always, there would be an 8 second gap at the very beginning of the race, and I'm like, what just went on? And then if you look at the 8 second gap, then it's like they're 30 seconds ahead of everyone. then they're lapping the field. It's just like this is getting unreal, man. So I mean, quite naturally, you find yourself being bored. Like I too fell for like the like one of my favorite Lewis Hamilton laps is when he did the lap at Singapore. That lap of him just just ace. It was the ace lap, much like the Max Verstappen lap in what's the place? Can't think of that name. A few days ago where he crashed. These guys will do something that will look almost like beyond human. Now it's not beyond human, but almost where these guys are just focused. They're like into it. They're programmed. There's nothing. They don't see nothing. They don't feel nothing but the car, and they're in sync. And that was my favorite Lewis Hamilton lap. So there was times that I fell for the drive. I said, "Oh man, that guy's good." But now, I mean, well, not now, but in the past few years of watching him, I'm like, man, this guy's not racing anyone. I said, man, you know what? This is getting boring. So I quite naturally fell for those that were coming after him. Ferrari. I was watching Ferrari for a little while. Then I started watching McLaren. See, I didn't really have a bona fide team, so I just liked the sport. If Daniel Ricciardo would have won world championship, I would be so happy right now. If Carlos Sainz won, if Charles Leclerc won, um, if Valtteri Bottas won, I would have been very happy. There's so many people, like I said, the midfield, that I like. These guys are good, man. They're just as good. They're on their level, but they just don't have the car. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching my stream. I am going to get some rest as it is 11:45. So, as I always say, you know my words. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us tonight. So, we thank you for coming out and supporting. All right. Well, you guys have a good night. Peace.